Like, my bangs look like I blew them dry with, like, a big 90s round brush. Like, it's just, like...
I know, and you've grown really, really soft. I mean, aren't you, like, supposed to be from the Midwest? I thought you people were the only people who successfully made it in New York.
Oh my god, but the thing is, you're not always outside in the Midwest. I mean, and the other thing is, there is a Midwest, like saying, there's no bad weather, there's only, like, bad clothing.
Okay, cool.
But I'm just saying my wardrobe is totally geared for California. That is the problem. I only have like one warm weather thing, and I'm getting so sick of wearing it.
Smug Californians, you know. I love smug Californians better than I love smug New Yorkers, though, I will say, and I live in New York. I mean, you guys are allowed to be
When
smug.
our avocado intake gets low, there's like no accounting for...
Listen, right now, there are no avocados, there are no limes. This is the brave new world that we're
But this
living
is
in.
really the inherent tension of this podcast anyway, that like in truth, though we have been friends for 5 years...
Yeah, whoa.
I know.
Really? 5?
I know. We're like right up on our anniversary. In fact, I think it was a few weeks ago.
No, I think it's next week.
It's next week.
It's on our calendars. It's sometime in May.
Let's not have this fight in front of the public.
I think you're right.
Okay. But you know, 3 of those years have been long distance years. So, but yes, this inherent tension of who is smugger, the New Yorkers or Californians.
You know, like, as an international person, I don't really claim...
You don't support that paradigm.
I don't support that paradigm. I really think that anywhere you live is where you make it out to be. Like, I've lived all over the world. American cities are not very exciting to me. I'm stuck here for now, making the best of it.
Here being America?
Yes, here being America. When Barack Obama sets me free, you know, like, I will be moving somewhere else.
Oh, even longer distance.
I mean, you know, longer distance, or you can come with. I think you're ready for an international stay. You know, I think it'll transform you.
Are you my college counselor? Like, being like, I think you're ready for an international experience.
I think so. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Now that we're boring. We've talked about the weather. We've talked about where we live.
Well, you mentioned Barack Obama. You've had some Obamacare struggles.
So I am having real Obamacare struggles, and I think that I can admit to them now that, you know, the website has rolled out and, you know, Michelle seems happy in all the interviews, but here's the deal. I left my job, and the one thing I asked them was if I could keep my health insurance until the end of the month, because I wasn't ready to fuck with the, like, ACA deadline that was looming really early on. I read a lot of internet, but I was, like, not prepared to wade into those waters. I'm really glad that I did, because for the last week, I've been trying to sign up for Obamacare, and oh my god, it's the hardest thing in the world, and it's going to turn me into a Republican. I've been on the phone, like, collectively waiting at least 2.5 hours. The website is shit. The UI is still shit. But it's okay.
But also, so, like, let's say, I mean, so as someone who went through the whole process of, like, getting insurance on my own in the pre-Obamacare era, the only reason it wasn't hell for me is because my father, like, is a small-town insurance agent, and I could, like, call someone at his office. Like, for civilians.
I could have called Big Terry.
Big Terry would have hooked you up with his health insurance person.
Oh my god, I was trying to be independent and cool. I, like, read all the online explainers, because, you know, explainer journalism is big now.
Oh my god. What is explainer journalism? Why does it always have a series of bold subheads?
Why does it lie to you about the ACA?
Even Republicans like the ACA now. They just don't like calling it the ACA or Obamacare.
You know, whatever. The website is bullshit, and the whole, like, sign-up experience has been really, really,
But the point is, the experience of signing up for insurance is totally shitty, and that is a problem that is, like I don't actually think is compounded by Obamacare. It's just sort of, like, now that's the way most people are experiencing it. Like, if you had decided to go look for insurance on your own, you know, without the help of, like, my father's, like, all the skills, insurance skills he could marshal, you would have had a hard time.
No, this is why I don't fuck with administrative tasks, man, and why I think I'm gonna stay employed in office world forever, because I can't handle overhead. Like, somebody else has to do this work.
P.S. IRL podcasting update. Your wine glass is empty already. Put it down. You can tell you've had a rough day.
I've had a very rough day trying to sign up for healthcare.
Ugh.
First name B-A-R Tasty cake. If you choose it, just use it. They can't refuse it. No pre-existing condition could ever make you lose it. So tell a friend or a random guy, I've got a game changer right here that saves lives. So don't stand and diddle. My healthcare is a shizzle. It's chock full of top-notch healthcare for bizzles. We'll cover all your vizzles, your dizzles, and your dizzles. Now while you figure that out, it's back to that carizzle.
Let's see, what else has been going on? Oh, this week in menstruation research.
Oh my god, did you read that article? But the headline obviously, like, grabbed me because, again, explainer journalism, LOL. It was like, why do I poop more when I'm on my period?
And you were like, inquiring minds, click,
I
click.
was like, excuse me, I thought that was only, like, a me problem. But apparently, ladies in the land have been, like, asking.
But doesn't it make sense? I always think of, like...
No, and it doesn't make sense. I don't know how period science works.
I mean, I just feel like everything is like, all the muscles are moving down there.
So
and
are
like,
you admitting to the fact that you also poop
yes,
more when you
of
have your
course.
period?
I just feel like that when there's, like, very active lower abdominal muscles, they just, like, there's, like, collateral damage.
Yeah, so this article was actually, like, very sciencey,
As opposed to my explanation.
Yeah, as opposed to your explanation, it was, like, compressed insides. But I didn't know that the reason that you got cramps is because, like, blood was actually, like, cut to your uterus.
I mean...
the body is disgusting.
The body is disgusting. I also read, oh my god, our awesome, what are you, Gina? Our awesome behind-the-scenes woman producer, Gina Delvac.
Yeah, Gina is the magic that makes the podcast happen. Hi, Gina!
Hi, Gina. Our editor and all kind of radio whiz, sent us an amazing thread on Quora, which is, like, something I don't really dabble in, but, like, occasionally there's a very brilliant, like, thread on Quora, which was sort of like, okay, why do we really get our periods? And a zoologist answered in, like, the most brutal way about, like, how human, like, reproduction is not geared to care about women at all. And I was like, ugh.
Yeah,
like, you two biology? Like, at two biology? Like, even you are, like, geared against us? The answer is it's all miserable because it's prioritizing the fetus, like, not you. Whereas, like, other mammals prioritize, like, the woman. Anyway, so all of this.
That's so crazy. You were telling me that there was a period story in that Sally Ride.
Oh, yeah. So I spent the last 24 hours, like, binge reading a biography of Sally Ride, America's first woman astronaut.
Explain to us who Sally Ride is.
Yeah, exactly.
9 points.
She actually used to sign letters jokingly AFWS, or, like, America's first woman astronaut, like, as, like, a joke to one of her friends. Anyway, there were a couple of very interesting anecdotes in it, but one of them, there's this whole section about, like, NASA struggling to adapt to women, like, after her astronaut class actually featured 5 other women. But there's this amazing anecdote where, like, NASA's engineers, who at that point are, like, mostly men, are, like, trying to figure out what to do about periods in space. And, like, no one even asks Sally, like, how is your flow? Like, they don't even know how to ask that question. Instead, they hand her this, like, personal hygiene packet that is, like, absolutely stuffed with 100 tampons. And that, because they're going to be in anti-gravity, she pulls them out and they're, like, connected like a string of sausages. Like, all the strings are connected. And they were like, P.S. she's going up there for 7 days. Like, even at the height, even, like, on, like, a couple heavy flow days, like, 100 tampons. Not to mention that Sally Ride is in heavy astronaut training and not even menstruating at the moment. Anyway, so that, and then there's also this amazing line where NASA engineers wonder how the sort of space commodes are going to handle all that mucus women secrete.
Oh my god.
And it's like, that isn't a thing. Like, women don't secrete weird mucus.
Why do you think that men, like, know nothing about periods or, like, refuse to learn about it? It's
These
not
are
that
scientists,
weird.
too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. I don't know. I mean, it is pretty gnar. Like, if I didn't have to, like, if it weren't coming out of my body, I don't know if I'd go make the effort to learn.
You don't think that you would care that there was blood coming out of something like 3 to 5, 10 days to my endometriosis sisters out there, like, coming out of your body? You don't think you would care?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like to think, who's to say what kind of, like, man I would be? Wow, this has gone in a really interesting direction. I would like to think I would be the sort of man who would, like, care about, like, being knowledgeable about that sort of thing, but I don't know.
Yeah, just the men know, like, nothing. It's so shocking to me.
Yeah, really, they don't. I mean, I feel like if we did have a late night show hosted by a woman, like stopping men on the street to ask them questions about like women's anatomy would be an amazing segment.
No, it's true. Like, I saw a man at the Duane Reade like buying tampons, and he looked terrified when we locked eyes, and I was like, this is a scene out of like bad movies. This is not supposed to happen in real life.
Right.
Like, grow up. Just grow up. Or have your wife order that shit from Amazon, and then you don't have to deal with it again.
Real talk. But yeah, like even like NASA like biologists cannot understand, it's like, what hope is there for the rest of us? What else?
What's going on with you?
Beyonce on the cover of Time magazine.
Oh, I have so many feelings about that. So, like, clearly, congratulations, Beyonce.
Because it's the 100 most influential people list. We should say that.
100 most influential people list.
She looks good, but like then you consider the context.
She looks really good, but I thought it was really dumb to have her in her underwear. I think that if it was anybody else, I would question whether, like, the celebrity had signed off on the photo. Knowing how crazy just like Beyonce staff can be about that stuff, you know that she has to have seen that photo and still thought, yes, this is exactly how I want to be seen by the world. Which, again, it's like, Beyonce, it's so much to learn about like lady feminism, like situations on the internet, but I guess at the end of the day, like, who really cares, right? But it still sends a message that was like very disappointing to me.
This sort of brings up something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, because I've like worked on a couple of them for like assignments. But like,
are you getting naked on a cover story?
Oh my god! If only, if only
for CJR.
No thigh gap. It's just gonna be like a solid like. Don't worry. I pledge to you today that if I'm ever wearing a bathing suit on the cover of a magazine, there will be no thigh gap.
Okay, cool.
Unless my legs are really far apart. Unless I'm doing like power stands.
Listen, you can have thigh gap if you actually have
That's
it.
what I'm saying.
If you don't have it,
the only way I have a thigh gap is if my legs are really far apart. So unless I'm like spread eagle on the cover of a magazine, there will be no thigh gap.
Oh my god, fingers crossed. Okay, back to
wait,
serious
but anyway,
things.
no. So the thing about this list, so it's like she's just the cover person. People are sort of saying that she is the Time most influential person. It's not. She's one of 100 people on the list, and she's just the cover person. So by principle of magazine journalism, like, who's willing to get the most naked? It's not Pope Francis,
I would buy that magazine.
I mean, right. However, like, side convo, you and I tear into Pope Francis. We can go there later. But I do think that her appearance on a list like that is a good thing. I think that recognizing cultural power alongside like political power is like a good thing. But the point is, these stupid media lists that like we're all tempted to just be like, whatever, it's a dumb arbitrary list, are just like these self-fulfilling prophecies. Like, you, as someone who has appeared on a very powerful list, Forbes 30 under 30, what?
How embarrassing.
I'm sorry, I'm doing it. But like, like that has really tangible results. Like, people who make lists look to other lists, and people who look to hire people look to lists, and it's just been made really clear to me that it is bullshit, but it's kind of bullshit that matters. And so in that sense, like, I am really happy to see someone with cultural power, and I'm happy to see like a woman of color, making an appearance at the forefront of that list.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would be curious to see you read some of the write-ups about some of the women in there, because even the Beyonce one, like, Sheryl Sandberg never once talks about her looks. But the Megyn Kelly write-up is, God, what is that douchebag's name? Britt Hume, is that his name? Yes, maybe, that guy. Nightmare. Right?
I struggle with Megan with a Y.
I know, Megan with a Y. Like, not relevant to me, right? But also, like, Megan with a Y. I'm very conflicted about her. Because we're feminists, we have to support her, like, in general. But also, like, were she to die in a fire, would I be sad? Probably not. But so she, like, in his write-up about her, like, the whole point is how just beautiful she is. And the first time that he saw her, he like looked at his wife and is basically like, I'm heavily paraphrasing here, and was like, this smoke show is gonna be great on Fox News.
Oh my god.
Is what happens. And I don't know, that was like very disappointing to read, even for, like, from conservative like people, right? It's like, it's 2014. you would really think that some person would edit him and be like, hey, like, focus on the facts. You know, Megyn Kelly, I don't love her, but is she good at her job? Like, extremely good at her job. Hey, Anne, I went to callyourgirlfriend.com and it looks different.
Oh my God, listen, I gave us such an upgrade. I use Squarespace and now all of our shit looks so good.
I am so impressed. It's like the website looks shiny and new, and more importantly, the shop has launched.
Oh my God. Squarespace has all this commerce functionality that is making it, I won't say easy because nothing is ever easy when you are a micro business like CYG, but making it as easy as possible for us to sell stuff and look good while we do it and tell people all about our podcast.
I'm so excited about this because you essentially set up that website in 10 minutes. And
I have no special skills or abilities.
I know. And you were able to like hook up the domain, like do the redirects. I'm so proud of you. All of that with no tech abilities. So thank you, Squarespace. And
thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Anne. And you know, the other great thing is that Squarespace offers 24/7 customer support. So everybody on the customer care team is an experienced Squarespace user and they can help you with anything that you need. So why not?
If you need a personal website, if you have a podcast you're trying to promote, if you're trying to sell something online, Squarespace is a great answer for you. You can start a free trial today at squarespace.com and enter code GIRLFRIEND to get 10% off your first purchase.
Squarespace, set your website apart.
Hang on, what else is on our list?
You gotta have an agenda when you're like talking so far away all the time.
Yeah, when you don't talk to someone, like, I mean, like we do talk every day, let's be real. But like when you are not like in regular, like, oh, I see you all the time for like a concerted hangout, you gotta get in the important bullet points when you do talk.
This is my third glass of wine.
I know, you are just burning through this. Although there's a lot left. There's totally.
I know, there's a lot of wine left. Also, Obamacare, it like really scarred me today.
So another thing about being in New York that I have to kind of like resist is like, I'm normally like not at all tempted to like randomly spend money on things.
You don't consider like online shopping,
but I just don't
like reckless.
But I don't do a lot of reckless online shopping.
You know, people at your old address would beg to differ.
So let me...
It's the fact that every once in a while, and by every once in a while, I mean a lot of times, she will drink a lot of wine and drunk shop and still have that stuff sent to her old address in Washington, D.C.
Where our friends Gabe and Michael now live and are always like horrified by the vintage things I've purchased on Etsy, like while drunk. Oh, the other thing, the shocker that shouldn't have been a shocker headline that I read today was actual news, vetted news. NPR's coverage of this study where they did a blind test. They sent university professors cold emails from a variety of fake names that were of the sort that were like from like a student address where they were like, hey, like I'm a student here and I'm really interested in what you do. Like, would you have coffee with me or can I stop by your office hours?
And what was the surprise conclusion?
Surprise conclusion is that random professors always, like the response rate for names, fake people, the letters were all the exact same. Response rates for people with names that sounded white and male were like far higher. I don't know the percentage, but
shocker.
I know.
I'm so shocked.
But here's the thing. Here's what I wanted to talk about. Obviously, we're 0% shocked by this because it confirms like the resume test from ages ago that people with black names or like ethnic names do not get. I'm making air quotes. You can, Amina can see this and you can't. I feel like it's air quotes tone. You should hear it. Get fewer responses. But the thing about the study was like even when they sent. Even like women professors, for example, showed the same bias against emails from women, and black professors showed a bias against like names that would read culturally as black.
That's so fucked
and
up.
That is what really fucks up. Like honestly, like if I get some email, like I don't get a ton of email, but I get some email. You know, if someone is like, I'm a white guy who goes to Columbia J School, it's like bottom of the pile. I'll get to you in like 3 weeks.
You know, I mean, granted, like we are in violation of a lot of equal opportunity, like situations. Where, yeah, you know, like, for me, it's not interesting to want to help, like, some white dude with a white-sounding name, right? But that stuff is, I mean, it's shocking and not shocking, because I was reading about you know, like, female compensation and how even women want to pay women less.
Yeah.
And how just, like, that whole, it's like, yeah, it's like, women think of women as less, men think of women as less, like, there's kind of nowhere to go there. But I don't know, like, I don't know how you change that stuff. I'm, like, absolutely not shocked by these studies. But I I just don't know, like, where you start to even change that in academia and in hiring practices, right? Like, I obviously have my own way of how I deal with it.
So obviously I was tweeting about this after I read it. A writer for the Harvard Business Review tweeted at me her article about attempts to overcome bias with stuff like this. And there are, like, things you can do, like, from an HR perspective of, like, with, like, blind hiring and whatever. But, like, that stuff applies to more, like, formalized processes. Like, one reason why I, like, thought this study was so great is, like, it's the sort of type of informal connection that actually makes a difference to getting a job far more than,
totally.
like, will you open my application?
Get in touch with your professor.
Right. And not even...
Maybe we should just all change our names.
Yeah.
And then we can all be, like, white dude names.
Well, it's funny because it's something that I actually have a lot of, like, I really regret when I was younger in my career not cold emailing people I was impressed by, like, particularly, like, women journalists who I really respected. My college boyfriend, who was also a journalist, was really good about, like, emailing, like, people who I thought were just, like, oh my god, they would never answer an email from me. Like, you know, people who were writing, like, features for Esquire at the time or whatever.
Oh my god, and the confidence gap.
And they all, oh my god.
Right now.
But what I was, yeah, exactly. This is total confirmation that, like, you know, I have no idea what would have happened because I didn't try. But I did spend a lot of time being like, oh, you know, you failed, your younger self failed you because you didn't, like, reach out and make those same, like, casual connections that he did. And I think this made me feel good because I was like, oh, maybe they wouldn't have answered it anyway.
Okay, listen, confirming, like, weirdo biases. I don't know, you know, as somebody who has, like, a very unusual name already, I feel like I lost that race, like, a long time ago. So, it's not something that I like to dwell on, because, you know, like, again, like, who knows? Who knows what will happen, but... yeah, I do have a very unusual name.
People always pronunciation check your name with me. It's like when they're scared to ask you. I'm like,
I know, they never ask me.
I know.
They
So I was
always
like,
say it wrong. I'm just like, oh my god, like, calm down. I've already made my name as easy as it is.
Are you going to say it for the listeners at home?
Say what? Say my name.
You acting kind of crazy.
And calling me baby.
I'll be like, you can just call her baby.
I mean, it's not hard. It's just Aminatu so. But it gives people, like, all sorts of just, like...
No.
Yeah, again, like, Americans. I'm just like, it's not that hard. But also just ask me. Just ask me how to, like, frickin' pronounce my name. And people never do. Or it will, like, butcher it completely, you know? And I think, like, we've talked about this. It's also the reason that I go by Amina. I think that that's, like, one of my biggest regrets is when I started college. I was just, like, very, you know, I was, like, really self-conscious about having a different name and how it was so hard for people to pronounce that I was just like, you can call me Amina. Like, it's not weird. Like, Amina is the Arabic version of my name. When I was growing up in Nigeria, a lot of people called me Amina. It's not crazy. But from a professional standpoint, it really annoys me that I've had to go there because I feel like I made it really easy for people who never make anything easy for me.
But your internet presence is very Aminatu.
I mean, you know, SEO, baby.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. You and that woman with acid burns are the only two relevant Aminatus.
Yeah, so you know the other Aminatu, she,
which would be an amazing thing for you to write about someday, by the way, the other Aminatu.
Well, I feel like I can maybe not write about it because the way that I got the URL to my name is, I'm pretty sure, because she went to jail. She's this, like, Western Sahara activist, you know, which, like, nobody knows what the fuck Western Sahara is. But so Western Sahara is this country that Morocco won't let be great. And so this woman, Aminatu's so high dart. We even have, like, she even has the same last name as me. She's been fighting the Moroccan government for, like, something like 20 years. She also would not let me be great online because she kept being the highest search result for me. And so I always keep an eye out for, you know, like, when the Moroccan government is fucking with her. And when she was in jail for an extended bout of time, I guess her URL registration went stale. And Namecheap let me have that sucker for very cheap. So, I feel terrible, but I feel awesome. You know, like, I don't know. She'll be okay. She's gonna be on the cover of the Time 100 before me. So I think that, like,
I wouldn't put money on that.
You never know. She's like the Aung Suu Kyi of Africa. Like, she's gonna get it.
So this names conversation is really interesting to me as well because I'm really fascinated by the, like, I want someone to do a sort of something about the number of celebrities who have changed their name, like because the day so today I read this study about how people essentially react to names and their prejudices play out that way, and then Donald Sterling, the
Donald
Clippers
Sterling.
owner, changed his name from something that looked too ethnic.
I found this out yesterday.
And I was like, oh, it's because you know how racists think. Like, it wouldn't even occur to me, but you totally know that they're screening for that shit. But I just, like, I know that there are, like, many celebrities who have changed their names, but,
yeah, they're always changing, like, last names or going by something really dumb.
Yeah.
I feel like Katy Perry, is that her real name? That could not be her real name.
I think it might be.
It sounds too quaint.
I think it might be. But but you know, it's interesting. Like I would love to sort of talk to, especially you know, it seems unfair to ask celebrities who are already like representing a super underrepresented group of people, like, why did you decide to change your name?
Yeah.
Like to something like Mindy Kaling springs to mind.
Well, so I told you this, right? Like when you go through the whole asylum process in the United States, they you get like a couple of opportunities along the way to change your name. And so and it's basically why a lot of Asian Americans all have like very American names. For assimilation purposes, they let you do that. And so it's a question for me that every step, like when I was going through the process, that would always come up. And then now that I'm, you know, like on the path to citizenship, thanks OBZ. This is so weird. Yeah, no, but every once in a while somebody is like, hey, like, your name sounds really complicated, weirdo ethnic person. Like, do you want to be like Tiffany, you know, like Smith? And I'm like, no. My name and my SEO are like very important to me.
Would you add a middle name though, a vanity middle name?
Okay, listen, I want a middle name so bad. My family's Muslim. Muslim people don't really have middle names. I want something really expensive, like Porsche or Cartier. Like, who knows?
Danger? I was gonna go with Danger.
Danger or Downtown.
I mean, not too Danger so is kind of an amazing name.
I've been thinking about it. I want like a really obnoxious middle name. So I think, you know, in the name modification game, that's how far I would go. But it was really shocking to me just how, like, they're, you know...
coercive?
Like, yeah, people are so happy to have you change your name into something that's, like, very convenient for, and palatable for your American audience to tell, and how there's so much pressure to do that.
For professors screening your emails.
Yeah, for professors screening your emails. Had I known this, you know, the first time that I was offered it, I would have definitely changed my name to something, like, cooler. But, you know, like, I don't know, my first name, at least, is very important to me. Like, family, like, all that paternal bullshit, not really. But, you know, my name carries a lot of history. It's something I'm really proud of. And, yeah, not gonna let go for a while.
It's funny because when I was little, I got really mad when I would ask my parents why they named me Anne. My mom was like, it was just the simplest, most classic thing we could think of. But now that I look back, I'm like, smart moves. Smart like, move. Getting my application open.
I'm probably not gonna have children because, like, many reasons. But I always think that, like, if you're gonna have kids, you want to name them for success for, like, the post-college years. And I feel that, like, kids don't understand that. So you might have to be, like, you know, 3-letter Anne and be really sad about that. But I feel like post-college, that shit has served you really right.
You know, it hasn't served me wrong. I wouldn't say it served me really right, but, like, I feel like I've come around. When I was a kid, I was so disappointed. Like, all my friends who were, like, Jessicas and Jennifers, I was like, I'm so jealous.
Did you really want to be a Jessica?
I totally wanted to be a Jessica. Number one most coveted name.
That's so weird.
Yeah. Also, my best friend was named Jessica, so maybe it was just that thing where, like, girls are just envying each other.
Who's the other famous Anne Friedman?
Thomas Friedman's wife.
Do you get mail for her at all?
A friend of our, a mutual person we both know. Once
you have friends in common with Thomas Friedman's wife?
No, I was talking about you and me.
Okay.
Someone we both know.
Excuse me.
Who I will not name. There was like some, I think it was like a New Yorker Talk of the Town about Thomas Friedman and his wife Anne with no E, and this friend of ours, or person we both know, emailed me and was like, yo, when did you marry Thomas Friedman?
Oh my god.
And I was like,
fire.
I sat there with the email open just being like, are you serious? I don't know how to respond to this. Maybe, like, anyway. And so I obviously have a Google alert for it. And it's obviously a very frequent middle name. So, like, Carol Ann Friedmans are, like, tearing it up in pottery studios in Michigan. And, like, Leslie Ann Friedmans are being elected to city council all over the place. But I'm really just, I'm pretty flat out dominating the plain Ann Friedman market. Like, all the handles, all the SEO.
I think that I'm getting to the point where I've had, like, too much wine now.
We might be at the end of our list. Is there anything else we want to talk about?
I don't know. I'm super excited about starting this podcast. You know, I think that the format is going to change. week to week. There will probably be less wine.
We're gonna have guests.
We're definitely gonna have guests. But mostly I'm, like, excited, you know, as a way to, like, catch up with each other and, like, figure out what the fuck we're doing. Hey, Anne, I'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Oh my god, I'll talk to you in a couple weeks, probably actually long distance. I'm so glad we forged this in person. I think we should cheers again. Wait.
Cheers.